Miracles of miracles. Miracles of miracles. Hello, hello. Oof. Should I heat that up? It can be heated up. I shall be back to heat up my coffee. I will come heat up my coffee. Not hot enough. Oh, it smells wonderful. I think bread. Okay. Hey, hey, hey. Yes, and too bad that there's no such thing as smell-o-vision, because if there was, you could smell the Christmas cookies that are being baked right now. Oh man. Mmm. There's nothing better than a house that has got the baked bread, or JC, Archie, good morning. Baked bread, cookies, something on the stove. I used to just when I had my kids, I would put a pot of hot water and I'd throw a couple cinnamon sticks in it and just let it, like let it simmer, like let it just be warm, and then the steam would just rise with the cinnamon smell, so it'd be in the house. But bacon bread, bacon, the smell of fresh cooked bacon, and oh man, you can't beat it. Cookies, Christmas is just, Christmas comes early because the bacon is going to date squares. So what's the missus making? Date squares, sugar cookies, oh shit, the little chocolate ones with the white icing sugar powder, uh, shortbread, ginger snaps. Did I say ginger snaps? All kinds of good stuff. Happy holiday. Hey there, Lawrence. Good to see you, brother. Holy shit, man. So, Spider-Man loves Christmas cookies. I got that off some kid at a yard sale. So I hope you're filling your face full of Christmas cookies, and that with luck, you've got a mom, a grandma, a wife, a significant other who can bake worth a damn. I seem to have scored. My wife's an accomplished chef. Like she's a real chef. Like she really took a course, and she can make honey out of horse shit. So, which is really wonderful. It's really good that way, because like when I see the start of it, I'm like, how can that be anything and it's going to taste good? And then when it's done, it's like, holy crap. Like she made a spaghetti sauce the other day that it was like, it looked like if you've ever seen the bottom of your sink, the sink trap, and it's like, oh, what the hell is that? And then that's what's boiling in the pot, and you're like, oh, how's that going to be been good? And then it turns out to be just like magic. Oh yeah, love it all. Got my Java juice going. Everything's going well. Shitty day here in the cusp, of course. We have not seen the sun. We had a bit of blue the other day, and you could kind of see it, like you could see the outline through the clouds, sort of. But we have not seen the sun here for, I'm going to say, like 3 weeks. Like, well, that's not true. It came out like the afternoon for like 20 minutes. I could see it on the cedars. You could see but other than that, it's just been gray. We've got that because they changed the topography. We've got that inversion cloud a blanket of fog cloud that just sits above the lake, and it blankets the whole valley. You know, you can see the sun from a distance. You can see bluer sky. Like my friend, she went to Nelson the other day, which is just 2 hours away, an hour and a half. But I say 2 hours. Canada, we measure distance by time, but it's just, only about 60, 70 miles down the road, but it take, windy mountain road. It takes forever to get there. Oh, peach. Yeah. Oh, peach cobbler. Oh, lemon bars. So yeah, you can see the sun if you drive out of town. You just get out of the valley and then, yeah, the orb. Oh, the orb is out. Oh my God. Anyway, hope you're all doing well. Christmas is coming. I'm going to try and do Wednesday shows all the way up into the last possible minute. I don't know when Christmas Day is exactly. What is it? The 11th today? So that means next Wednesday is the 18th. And we'll be in at her brother's in Kelowna for Christmas Day, I think. So I think next Wednesday will be probably the last show before the Christmas holiday starts. So, and then I'm going to Ecuador, and then we'll start doing live shows from Ecuador. So there'll be a few shows before Ecuador. I should be in Ecuador sometime in the mid of January, like as long as the crazy people, we'll talk about those crazy people, don't destroy the world and don't just completely muck up the works. Nanaimo bars. Yeah, for whatever reason, the Nanaimo bars, I love them, but I hate them because they're so rich. And the military, no matter where you went, any base, any galley, any kitchen, anywhere, anyhow, Nanaimo bars and cherry cheesecake was the norm. You'd always have them on you'd walk with your tray just like an Animal House, or you see in any military movie, and you slide it along and you're dumping food off. In the old days when it was free, now you got to pay for your groceries in the military. Yes, you have to pay for your own food in the military now. You buy a card, and then anyway, I don't want to get into that. But yeah, so I'm super saturated on the Nanaimo bars, but I do enjoy them as long as they're made properly. Like I've had some that are just like, they don't use the right butter mixture. They try and cheap out and do some stuff. Like you can't chintz when you're doing that kind of stuff. You can't, well, let's try and substitute it with, like for me, like when people say, well, there's no sugar in it, but we laced it with stevia. I'm like, well, then it's shit. Because then you've changed the whole flavor, and oh, I used honey instead. No, you can't. Yes, honey's great, love honey, but for some things, no, it tastes like shit. Sorry, that's just my opinion. But so I'm super saturated with Nanaimo bars, but I'm getting the missus might make Nanaimo bars anyway because there's other humans that like them. I'm getting date squares, so I'm happy. I could live off date squares because date squares are heavy. It's like you've had a meal, the sugar, the yummy, the chewy. Oh, stop. I'm drooling already. Anyway. She made some chocolate, peanut, pretzel, caramel bark last night, and I had a couple pieces like mistakenly just before bed. Holy shit, eh? So, gee, what should we talk about aside from Spider-Man and Star Trek? Going through my inventory, just in case the world goes to hell in a handbasket. Holy shit, eh? Talk about, is it really like if anything I noticed over the last 2 weeks since the last show, because there was no show last Wednesday, it's completely nuts. Yeah, everything's looking good. I called the family. I had communication with them through the Facebook Messenger app in Ecuador. Yes, they're rolling blackouts. Yes, but like I said, I can live in a shoebox. I can live in misery as long as it's, I've got certain things. If it's warm, I don't really care if there's no power. I don't, oh, the water's not on today. Okay, I'll go buy an extra jug so that I can, if I don't have a shower for 2 weeks, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I've been through dirty times in the military. When you're on board ship, you can't shower every day. you know. Awesome. I will look for that. You're gonna live stream it, okay? Yeah, I was watching your Rust video the other day. I like watching them. You know, isn't that the one that what's his pickle like did the shoot? Was there the Rust? Was that what's his name? What's his name? One of the Baldwin boys got in trouble and shot somebody or something. That was a while ago. But anyway, I started watching Fallout. I started watching Fallout, the Netflix or the Prime or whatever it is. I literally just because I saw the clip on. I didn't know it was a. I'm so out of the video gaming industry right now that I didn't notice that they had taken a video game and made a kind of a series on it. So I'm just gonna start watching that. But anyway, like funny enough, a Fallout with the way the crazy the world is going. You know, let's hope saner heads prevail because these children in their sandboxes plural, are just disgusting in my opinion. So we can start with well, we'll start with the what's his pickle in New York, Penny, Mr. Penny. Um, I was kind of watching the whole shit show, and the what I've the whole takeaway from this is that uh, uh, we got a serious whether it's by design. I'm not going to argue that. I do believe it's by design. You've got a whole demographic now of people that are completely needing help. I'm not going to call them insane because that wouldn't be a very kind. It's not the appropriate thing. Mental health. It's simply mental health, whether it be drug induced, alcohol induced, like induced by drugs, induced by whatever. But we have no place for these people to go, and then and because you've got both sides now. You've got the Joe citizen, my dad, your mother, your grandmother, the average Joe who just wants to watch his Netflix and is not like a Marine trained where some person who's jumping up and down with a box cutter is going to make you scared. And now we've got this like it's an epidemic, and it's causing people to be fearful, you know, and don't know what to do about it, or scared to do something about it, because then you see what happened to this fella here. You know, when you read up on the whole gambit, on the whole thing about the I can't remember the name of the guy that was unalived, but he wasn't going to church, he wasn't going to choir practice, this wasn't a one-off. But what you've got now is you've got the whore mainstream media, and the whores that the sandbox players, the ones that are, the cowards and whatever, are dogpiling and saying, they'll probably pick some graduation picture from when he was 16 years old in his suit and tie and say, oh, this poor person was murdered by this obvious racist person. See, so and that's where we find ourselves today, that they're ignoring the elephant in the room, obviously. And when I talk to the layperson who just literally just like click on CNN, MSNBC, blah, blah, and it's just like racist white guy killed. And then you've got the absolute dogpilers, grifters, money whores, whatever you want to call them, that are out like when the verdict came down and they were just screeching bloody murder, and then inciting even more, like you've got like when you've got crazies that are on that stupid show called The View. Absolute crazy people, deluded in their mind, that are actually making it worse. So exactly, and that is, in my opinion, because what I hear from the layperson, what I hear from the one that just wants to have their coffee and watch TV They want to be able to go and walk and go to their games and go to their Taylor Swift concerts unimpeded. Is like, yes, we should have police on every corner. We should have stop, and we should have that martial law type environment, welcoming some sort of control grid to make the children safe. Like the same bullshit story that we got with, like, you know, we're going to invade Afghanistan because so that little girls can go to school. You know, really? Really? But there's a good portion of the people that believe that, and it's all generational. Like the generation after me, like not the generation younger than me, but the generation older than me. You know, who had it good, and now it's not so good, and now they're frightened. You know, because they can't, because they're, you know, 90 years old or 85 years old. They can't defend themselves against this. I think his name was Neely, I believe. I can't remember, but you know. The Canadian elaborate. The only, and right now, like the whatchamacallit case that we just had, the remembrance of the mental health fella back in 1990. I think it was sometime in the 90s when Marc Lepine in Quebec, in Montreal, École Polytechnique. I was there. I'm not there. I was, like, my girlfriend was going to Concordia at that time. She was going to Concordia University, and I was in Quebec City on a contract. And then all I heard was, like, on the horror media, was that, you know, guy goes crazy and shoots up university full of and kills a whole bunch of women. Didn't know where it had happened and what had happened. So I was just like batshit crazy, thinking that my girlfriend had got caught up in it. She was going to Concordia, thank God, and not to the École Polytechnique in Montreal. But everybody's missing the point that, you know. And after that, it was just like just a almost like a knee, well, was a knee-jerk reaction, like Australia. You know, we had one shooting, so we're just going to blanket, you know, everything is bad, ignoring the elephant in the room. This guy was nuts. This guy hated women for whatever reason. I don't care. I don't know if his mother put clothes pegs on his dinky and stuffed them in the closet. I don't know that. It's not my but that was the issue. It had, you know, he used a medium that was very easy, but then you could have done it, you know, in any manner, way, shape, or form. So, you know, yeah. Yeah, the Canadian legal system is an and here again, we ignore everything, and the media will just pimp it, like Paul Bernardo came up on trial, or sorry, on for release. Not going to happen. Meanwhile, his accomplice, who gave testimony so that they could get Bernardo, but she was part and parcel of it all, has been out for years, has had a baby, has left Canada, if I'm not mistaken, a new name, the whole 9 yards. We've got the fella that was on the bus, all mental health. You know, I'm not going to argue Bernardo was nuts. Yeah, you know, you don't rape and murder your own family. That's just not good. But you got the crazy guy, Vincent Lee or whatever, that went nuts on a bus because he was hearing voices and cut Tim McLean's head off. And he's been released. He's been released. So, you know, I mean, but in my opinion, it's all a thing. It's just another to get people scared to implement a control grid of some sort. You know, we should have robot dogs on every corner. You know, whatever. I'm not going to argue what they want to impose, but they do want to impose some sort of control mechanism for the population. You know, it won't. You know, it won't save anything. Yeah, my daughter just left NYC. My daughter just moved from NYC. She's no longer in NYC. She's gone all the way across the country to settle on the West Coast. Hopefully back in Canada, somewhere close that I can go visit, but no longer in NYC. So she's done with that. It was obviously something changed, and the vibe or whatever. She went through Oklahoma, driving across. She drove her car. You know, I got pictures. I can't remember where she was in Oklahoma. but she went through Oklahoma. Whatever the main thoroughfare is through Oklahoma, the main I route, whatever big highway, 40, I think it is. I could be wrong in the number, but one, because your highways are all up and downs are labeled in a certain manner. I-45, that was the one. Yeah, she was on I-45. You know. Yeah, so we've got this fella who was exonerated, in a manner of speaking, but now he's got a target on his back because of the crazies that are out there saying that it was, this, that, and the other. But we all know that that what happened wasn't exactly what the mainstream media is telling us, right? So we know that. But that's only, us here, us 3 or 4 people in the channel, plus my mother. Hi, Ma. So that's what we get now. And then we've got crazy people. Like, I can imagine now that, if it hasn't happened already, that the crazies on The View, because The View's in my head, because ever since the election, people have been just trolling them incessantly, and it's wonderful to watch. Like crazy people like Karen Johnson and all the rest of them, like the I can't believe she's a lawyer, like Hostin, like wow, like these people are completely deluded, and but they're gonna stoke it up. You know that they're gonna stoke it up. They're gonna stoke that fire. They're gonna put as much coal on that fire as they can to get people even more crazy, because that's what happened with the election cycle, right? That's what happened in the election cycle. These people were convinced that that Hitler was going to take the reins, and now they're out there completely bonkers. And there's videos to it to prove this. So and that is, once again, in my opinion, for the powers that be, an ancillary benefit, so that they can impose some sort of more rules to protect the children, like we're doing up here right now. We just banned a whole bunch of other guns, and like just completely cuckoo in listening to the cuckoos. And like an unarmed society is a safe society. Like they completely have it backwards. I don't want to see it like the Wild West, although maybe it'll be safer if everybody's armed. I don't know that. I don't have the statistics. But what they're imposing, because guess what? The big cities like Toronto and Montreal and all the rest of them, they're just a light with gunplay, and they're ignoring the elephant in the room. When they want to ban, like one of my hunting rifles, like a hunting rifle, really. And most of the crimes are being committed with stolen handguns, and that are coming in from wherever. They're blaming you guys, of course. They're blaming you guys because you guys got so much guns. But I don't care. They would come from somewhere else if they had to come from somewhere else. They'd come from fucking Mars if they had to. It doesn't really matter. So it's all part of the narrative. But anyway, we'll just finish off with the Mr. Penny, because that is one of the fear factors, because they absolutely want us in complete and utter fear of everything right now. We'll just segue into what happened most recently with that healthcare guy. And and here's a question: has anybody seen? Because I'm looking at now that they found the perpetrator. They found Lee Harvey Oswald sitting there with his, like I'm everything I'm reading. I was like, wait, he was at the store with his manifesto and the gun and his, like what? He had his "I did it" kit hanging off his back with a sign on it saying like "I did it," or like, and then they like, really? Something seems so odd about this whole story. Like, and I'm asking you guys, have you, like, aside from the picture that you see on the interwebs of him coming out of the shadow and then shooting some fella that's walking away, and then then they of course have to blur it to protect the children. You don't want to see that kind of violence, right? You want to see that kind, if you want to see violence, watch Breaking Bad. Anyway, I'm just joking. But like, something absolutely. Now, my conspiratorial mind will tell me that it was a complete psyop, that like, it was an early morning thing, not, they've got all the video footage that they want, him at a taxi stand, at a bus station, at Rotten Ronnie's, over here, whatever, what have you. But I don't see any other citizen video, as it were. Yeah, yeah. It's just like, oh, we found a passport. We found a passport in the rubble. Like, oh, like Willie, the same thing with Willie Picton up here. Oh, we found his memoirs. He was writing his memoirs after he died. Come on, like, you know. And then I get, you know what I get thrown in my face? Oh, it's Occam's razor. I'll just take the easiest explanation. It's usually the right explanation. No. We're being played. I think we're being played for suckers. We're being distracted from something bigger and badder that's gonna change our way we do business. And I think that all this nonsense, even we can argue about the sandbox, the Middle Eastern sandbox, and how it's a light right now. And I don't mean a light, of whether it be the chess pieces are getting moved around, or the risk board. Yeah, it's, no, yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, yeah, all the J6 insurrection protesters are rotting in jail. It's so contrived. It's so scripted, in my opinion. But there again, because we know that the what I would call legitimate anger, because people are seeing, like if you want to even take the explanations for the election cycle at face value and say, well, the big orange man got in because people were pissed off with the migrant situation and the economy and everything like that. So there is a real level of anger out there that people are displaying or have inside of themselves because of the injustice that they're seeing in the system. You can argue the pardon, where it's one rule for thee and one rule for me, like I described to you last time about a family member during the height of COVID, when everybody was supposed to be dropping dead and falling out of trees, that rich people were flying around and doing whatever they wanted willy-nilly because, July 13th, 1977. That was a long time ago. But yeah, I think people are waking up to that, and they're just trying to distract, and realistically, with this latest fellow with the healthcare, listen, my mother always said, don't speak ill of the dead. Don't, no matter what, I'm sure there's some people you say, well, they got what they deserved or whatever, but don't, I think that's about as summer blackout. Yeah. Okay. I remember that. Yeah. But, the response that it garnered from the general population was not that of there wasn't a lot of tears. Like, I'm sure there was tears shed by those who loved him and family members, if it even happened. Okay, this is where I'm going. Okay, if it even fucking happened. Pardon my French. I got to watch my language, because that does, the algorithm does pick up that, and I got to stop saying bad words. So I noticed that about YouTube doesn't like when you use bad words. I got to figure out some other bad words that don't really exist, like Battlestar Galactica. What did Starbuck use? Like Felgercarb and frack, and stuff like that. But anyway, so I look at this fella, this situation, this contrived event. Okay, son of Sam. I remember that. Yeah. So, and it's not. This isn't This isn't for us. It's for the bigger majority of the population that really does just would invite a complete control grid, robot on every corner, like iRobot, NS5, you know, there for you. 3 Laws safe, you know? And then all of a sudden, you know, like, you know, you can't even, you know, you drop a candy wrapper on the on the, whatever, you know. I'm just being funny, but like, yeah, it seemed a bit, because guess what everybody's looking at right now? Look, I saw a photo of the fella, the patsy I call him, being escorted by, and the media horse scrum, like the cameras on top of trying to get the picture. It's almost like, you know, like if when Lady Diana used to go everywhere, the trainload of whores, because that's what everybody wants to see, right? They're not going to report on something as boring as, you know, does green energy work, because nobody cares. But that's what everybody's looking at right now. Meanwhile, and that's another thing I noticed with, and we can segue into that in a bit, what's going on in the sandbox, in the Middle Eastern sandbox, where the children are playing, that nobody was watching that. We've all been watching, or the layperson, I would say. Like, I was looking at the Penny case, and, you know, because for me it was cut and dry, because I read the facts. Oh yeah, okay, I would have probably done the same thing, you know, hand on my heart, you know, especially if he was like, anyway, I don't need to get into it, but like, and then with this fella here, you know, and I'm not saying that I would have done what, if it is even real, what is being purported, not reported, purported, because I don't believe any of it. Yeah, yeah, he caught in the McDonald's with his manifesto and his gun. Like, he really did keep, like, this is what they're saying. This is what they're having us believe, you know. It was like that clip I put up. It was on my channel, thwarting an assassination 101, and it's, you know, the great Gene Hackman and Dennis Franz and Tommy Lee's in it, and a whole bunch of great actors, about, you know, conspiracy about killing, and then the patsy and how perfect it was. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's too, you know, oh look, it's him. You know, close the book, move on. You know, and I love, I think it was Kash Patel. Was it Kash Patel? Most recently came out, like, because we're all, you know, chomping at the bit to get the, you know, the JFK files released and blah 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 blah. And then he came out and says, "Hey, it's not exactly what you think, because everything that you guys think is right, and it'll be just some little dotted I's and some crossed T's that you need to finish up. You know, maybe a couple players that because we already know what happened. We, like, if you really do the research, it wasn't some lone nut who decided that, yeah, you know, commies or whatever, you know. Like when I watched what was the movie with Carol O'Connor and Sidney Poitier, In the Heat of the Night, and they find the guy dead in an alleyway, and then they're kind of looking around. They goes, well, it must have been some hitchhiker. Or, and then they find Sidney Poitier at the train station, and they're like, well, it's obviously him because he's black and he's got money in his pocket. Ah, case closed. That was so easy. Thank you so much. Yeah, Luigi. You know what? You know, maybe he was a fan of Mario Brothers. But meanwhile, we've got, like, and then we've, like, what did it take? I wrote down I was journaling. I wrote down, I think last week, I said, oh, Syria's on fire. You know, I'm just noticing something all of a sudden. I was like, oh, that's, you know, and then just like, it was like a domino, like bang, boom, bang. And I was like, but nobody was watching. Nobody was. And I listened to Lavrov's interview with Tucker Carlson. I watched that whole thing, and I was trying to analyze what he was saying. Very, very well spoken man. You know, his English is better than my Russian. I can tell you that for nothing. But I was like, he was like, you know, we've got a deal. When he said deal, it kind of perked my ears. We've got a deal in the works. So I don't know if if possibly he might have been knowing that something weird was going to happen, but nobody really seems to think, everybody seems to be caught off guard, like boiling, like I said in the video. The pot was just maybe 2 weeks ago, and the pot's just doing like this, and then all of a sudden fucking spaghetti's all over the place, and everything is all, it's just, turn it off, we got a fire in the kitchen, like that kind of stuff. I'm like, wow. So when I think of and then of course, which what kills me, it's like, I think our memories are not our memories, not your memories, because you guys seem to be clutched in more than the average person, obviously, because you're the ones giving me ideas when you give me your comments. That the here it is. This is the narrative. Bashar al-Assad was a brutal dictator that was horrible, and that this benevolent rebel faction rebranded, I love it, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, because it's a sham, that were Al-Qaeda or whatever, ISIS, ISIL, bean package, fucking, you can call it whatever you want, and that, because he was such a brutal dictator, that, it had to come. But don't, like, then my first retort, or my first thing is, like, did you know that America had 1/3 of Syria, and they literally occupied 1/3 of Syria, and that they are occupying the 1/3 that is all the oil and the agriculture and the food belt, if you were? What? It's like when you see cartoons and the question marks are flowing out of their head, and then it's Obama, of course. Well, it started with Obama. These could be plans laid down since World War II, for all I know. Because don't forget, all roads lead to that little country in the sandbox. And there was something I just saw. I haven't watched the video. It was a Stu Peters thing. And, they've got Netanyahu on camera. Just like, if you and I spoke like that about a certain demographic of people, like if I spoke like that about Indigenous or something like that, and I'd be like, oh, wow, the RCMP'd be at the door tomorrow, yesterday. Yeah. So, these plans have been probably laid down since 1948, since the inception of that shit sandwich, because we have 100-year, 200-year aliens that live here, and they want to form, I don't know. I'm just pulling that out of my ass, but it's so, it goes so deep. And then all we're looking at is, oh, guess what? Jay-Z's got some accusations about him. Okay. We are being distracted about, that's why my whole thing is, be true to your school. I love watching Netflix and my Star Trek and my Star Wars, of course, but I don't live in it. I wish I could, in a sense. I wish I had the USS Fire Extinguisher, the USS Consequence, with my crew of people and my handlers, of course, because I can't make decisions alone. I need help. To put out all the fires, but I don't. So 1918. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it frig. It could go back to 1776 for all we know. And that's what people were like laughing. I love that. Did you see the troll that the Orange Man did against our turd up here? We're like, thank you, Governor Trudeau, to the 51st state. The 50. Like, and people are like, oh, that's such and they just get Orange Man bad, and they just get all deranged. And I'm like, well, no, like, in my opinion, we're all vassal states of the GBR and whatever entity that was, and whatever that was created out of. If you want to go back to like the time of Jesus, I don't know, man. I can't even argue that point. But like, how can how can Great Britain even function? It doesn't have anything. It's a freaking island with no trees, no oil. Like, yeah, they're all over the fucking planet, stealing uh, from like they own everything, like all the shipping, whatever. They probably have their hands, so they just get payments. I would say that the empires still exist, and that Canada is just a vassal state of the GBR, as probably the United States is still. Why isn't there always lockstep together? Why are we always lockstep together? You know, and all the money just goes to the shit show, royal shit show, which now we're all talking about Harry and Meghan. Who gives a shit? I mean, it's like we're in a really bad movie. I've said this before. Like we're in a really, really poorly written movie. And every once in a while a new writer comes in and just writes a new part of it, and you're like, ooh, what happened? Like, MASH or something, oh, it was great. Oh, ew. And you just don't want to watch it anymore. And then it just rolls into something else. It's just terrible. Yeah, I always laugh, and how powerful the Great Britain is and everything like that. And I'm like, they seem to look down their nose at everybody else, because everybody else to them is a bloody colonial. And you cut down all your trees, you ate all your meat, you fished out your areas, so you just expanded like a virus just to take over the rest of the world. And for whatever reason, we have them turn that island to a piece of glass. Actually, all roads probably lead to that place more than the sandbox. The sandbox probably just a shit disturber. The little brother that was always stirring the pot and he had the bigger brother to come in and sort it out. God, humans are interesting creatures, aren't they? And now we've got the JC distraction. And I was looking at just move on from, because and here I wrote this down. Yeah, see. Now that the brutal dictator is gone, now that the brutal dictator, I love brutal dictator is gone. The Rothschilds, the banking. What's that? There was a black and white movie. It was on YouTube till it was banned and then gone. I downloaded it in it, House of Rothschild or something like that. Black and white, old movie, and basically spelling it out. Yeah, they use carrier pigeons to talk to each other, But yeah, it goes way back. But just back to the Syria thing. Now that the brutal dictator's gone and he's been deposed and he's running for his life and all that shit. And now we've got the benevolent head choppers and hand cutters because they've been rebranded. They're no longer, I think they were trying to say that, oh yeah, he's more diverse or whatever. And I'm like, okay, let's see if there's any Christmas trees left in a couple weeks. Let's see if there's any, non believers, if we'll use that word, left in a couple weeks in old Syria. So somebody had put out a video, and I think it was in the UK actually, or I can't really remember. But it was some guy going to some, because they were all jumping in the streets, Bashar al-Assad pictures being burned or whatever. And Buddy's going around, so you're going to go back home now that it's nice and cool? So now that you've fled from that country, right? You fled because it was horrible. It was horrible. They were coming for us all. And now you fled and you're all around everywhere. So now that it's good, it's better now because it's peace and the rivers are flowing with honey. So you can go home now and restart rebuilding your country. I'm being an asshole, of course. Absolutely being a 100% asshole right now. But there you go. What? Okay, we fixed it. We built the bridge back to your village. The bridge had been washed out. You've been all over here now because you couldn't get, you couldn't. Now the bridge is clean. Nobody's going to bother you. Everything's going to be good. The land of milk and honey. You got lots of resources, sort of, but America's stealing them all, along with Turkey and GBR and Israel. Oh, I get it. Wow. But you say that to the ones that are like, he's putting families to death, and you're like, well, what about this? Well, that doesn't mean anything. And so it's so obvious. Thank you for making it so obvious. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Anyway, and then meanwhile we've got, oh, guess what? We were parading another a Jay-Z had slept with some 13-year-old. So that's just everybody's going to be looking at that. Meanwhile, you know, the real perpetrators of the, if you want to believe in the whole story of drinking baby's blood and all that stuff, like, somebody actually at firefighting talked to me about that last night. That there's these rich people that are actually like using. Now this is the story. And I don't know. I modern day vampirism. I can't argue that, but we've proven it in science with mice and such. If you take young blood and you put in old blood and you rejuvenate, blah 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 blah, with a little bit of magic and a little bit of fairy dust, that you can. Some rules can be bent. Sorry, some rules can be bent. Some can be broken. So I'm not going to argue that case, because we've got, if that's what's going on for real, and all we're getting is a little distraction, so we can hunt these lower end players like Jay-Z and P Diddy and everything like that, because we know, because I wrote right under that, I said, because it is a distraction, because nobody really cares in the sense that they want to vilify this person, and fine, if you're 20 years old and you're banging a 13-year-old, that ain't kosher. But meanwhile, how long was Jimmy Savile running around? Jimmy Savile from the BBC with his Top of the Pops and shagging young ladies. How long was that going on for? Ever? Who knew about that? Forever? Oh, and I zinged. I'm just back to Bashar al-Assad. That came up on George Galloway's show, that he was going to be knighted or lorded or something like that. I mean, the Queen had him out at the castle. Yeah, we're being played. So, but when I'm back to the and I was talking about trying to say, people are going to go, oh, Jay-Z, and I said, what about Jimmy Savile? And everybody's like, what? Who? And then you explain, oh, well, that's just one of those things. Oh, really? Well, how about Gary Glitter? Not going to argue the pros and cons of hitchhiking, but how about our fairy tale story here that nobody gave a shit about in America because it was Hollywood and it was love, like our Celine Dion bullshit. Wait a minute, she was 12, he was 40. Oh, so he waited till she was 18, then he could marry her? What? Really? Yeah, okay. Don Johnson, Melanie Griffith, nobody cares. Well, that was different. They were white and they were pretty. It's whatever the view or whatever the bullshit that comes out that we follow, or that's what it is. Meanwhile, ignoring the elephant in the room, like we said before. What's causing all that? No, it's not racism. It's mental health. What's causing all that? Oh, it's greed. It has nothing to do with benevolent dictators or whatever like that. It's greed. It's control. It's world control. Blah blah blah. What's going on with this fella, the healthcare worker? Well, it's obviously like the guy had a screw loose, or he had it could be the play about or maybe it's just abject avarice and greed that's running rampant, and two sets of rules, and people are picking up on it, and they're going to say, well, guess what? The purge is coming, and they're desperate to try and deflect, distract, make an excuse. Yeah, it was just a lone, whatever. I don't care. It's obvious to everybody here in this room what's going on. You can screech bloody murder, and you're just gonna be looked at like a crazy person. Yeah. Meanwhile, I've been, and I wrote this in a comment section somewhere. I said, you know what? I'm still holding hope out for the sun or something. The sun Come on, solar, our G2 yellow star. Come on, wakey, wakey. Set us all back to zero. Scramble a couple of brains. We had an X1 and 6Ms this just since the last couple days alone. I'd buy that for $1. Yeah. And I mean a big, I wanted just like the cave paintings, man. Just like the cave paintings of old. That's a weird cave painting. It's got the sun, it's got lightning bolts coming out of it, and it's got everybody running and scrambling and Tower of Babel type stories, like, I would say that whatever the history we've been taught is not exactly true. And then there's been, because I only know from my own life, I don't know what happened 200 years ago. Some other guy wrote it. I wasn't there. So I'm hoping the sun will take care of business. Problem is, though, I know somebody knows about that. I know that, let's pretend that solar cycle 25 is the kicker. That's why the Deagle and all that shit, we can argue that. I'm just right out of my ass. Woohoo! Pulling that right out of my ass. But let's pretend somebody knows. It's like when I watched I said the bad word again, Fargan, Catherine Mary Stewart, Robert Beltran, Night of the Comet. Be a horror movie, when the comet comes through and sprinkles fairy dust over the planet, and then half the people turn to zombies that weren't sleeping under a tin roof, and then the ones anyway, but there were some that knew. In the beginning, the guy's like narrating, but there are some that knew. There will be some that know, and with luck, it'll be like, well, I don't know. I was watching The Stand again the other day. Yeah. Who's building the bunkers? Yeah, it's possible. But there again, somebody's going to leave the door open. Do you turn the fan off? Like something's going to happen like that, eh? And once again, those who really do make it through on their own merit, or if you want to call divine, like The Stand. Let's just pretend The Stand. With Gary Sinise, the old one, the good one, with Gary Sinise and Molly Ringwald and all the, Fagerbaker and all that. Laws, yes, that would be viable. But if those people make it through, then they'll be looking for the ones that are all clean and well shaven. Somebody's crawling out of a bunker. All of a sudden, you find out, and they're well fed, and they're not starving or disease ridden. Yeah, you're going to know that they were, one of them. So I don't know how it would play out. Who's building the bunker? Oh, and I noticed one thing too right now, and because I got a buddy who's, just new into the conspiracy world and stuff, and I'm not going to fault him because it's new. The amount of e-beggars and grifters and clickbait asswipes that are just coming out, putting videos that are old and like, yeah, this is it. Like just a simple one with Bashar al-Assad, like before we even knew what was going on. Yeah, Bashar al-Assad has fled Syria, and and then there was a picture of him with Putin, and he's in with Putin, and then they're down, they're teabagging each other, whatever. And I'm like, and I just clicked and I went, that photo doesn't, because Putin doesn't look the same in today. So I click, I find out the picture's like 5 years old. I'm like, okay, these people, these assholes, asshats, the clickbaiters, the TikTok, look at my ass videos are coming hard and heavy. All the influencers that are just appearing all of a sudden to distract, deflect while everything is going on, because everybody's just like, nobody's vetting anything. Nobody's checking anything. It's just all getting crazy. So, well, yeah. It's just amazing, somebody's getting rich, you know. I hear Joe Rogan's got like what, 100 million subscribers or whatever it is. Like, yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's insane. It's all greed and like this fucking stupid. Did you hear about the? I didn't even know it existed until I talked to a what I would call a person who's immersed in the TikTok videos. The Hak Tui girl. Like I didn't know really what that was about, and I watched the video and I said, oh okay, in, out, gone, discarded. But there was a following. She became a YouTube sensation, and then capitalized on it, and then got caught up in some kind of greed scam, and now she's possibility of jail time. Yeah, I read. I'm like, wow, that was fast. I watched Gladiator the other day. The public is fickle, brother. Be careful. I'm glad that I'm just us, you know, half a dozen talking back and forth. Yeah, that's enough. Thank you. Don't need your money. Oh, unbelievable. I've been victim of a pump and dump. Believe me, I've been victim of a pump and dump when I used to gamble in the market because I'm not an investor. I have no clue, and I should not. I'm the kind of person that you, sir, and I'm talking about myself, you, sir, are too stupid to be an investor because you're a gambler. So, and I'm out. I've never done it since. The only thing I do now is I have real silver and real gold, and that's all I do. That's it, because I'm just too dumb and not in that. I'm not a, yes, I did it because I wanted to make money, of course, but I'm not that. I'm the sucker. Yeah, I'm on the end of a stick. Yeah, I'm the guy who gets the money drained from him. So yeah, I'm out of that. I'm not that. I'm not that guy. That's okay. I'm good with that. I can accept that. You know. Yeah, pump and dump. Oh fuck, hey. I felt bad for her in a sense, you know, because she got victimized or whatever because of her own whatever. You know, everybody wants to be a millionaire, right? But it's the evil ones, like Elizabeth Holmes. You know, or the like. I watched a video and they had a thing on the Wolf of Wall Street. Remember that the Wolf of Wall Street? And there was a movie about it. I think Matthew McConaughey was in it or whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute, they're glorifying this. This guy should be doing serious time. This guy should be like in a pillory somewhere with vegetables and shit. Like he's still rich. He did not suffer any real consequences whatsoever. He didn't lose a toe. You know, people died because of him. Oh yeah, yeah, and that one too. That the Mike Tyson thing. You guys all, I saw that fight. That was sad. That was, I don't even I don't I want to purge it from my memory. You know, that was sad. That was sad. What I witnessed that night. But I had to watch it. It was like a train wreck. I gotta see this, how the train crashes into the. I gotta watch it. You know. You know. I'm glad I made it this far without being co-opted, I guess I would have to say, you know, because I don't know when I was a younger man. You know, I don't know. I can't. I'm sitting here honest, like I really don't know. Like, you know, I know that what right and wrong was. You know, my dad and mom gave me a good set of values and morals and ethics and that. You know, but if I'd have been caught up in it, you know, and just got away from me, you know, I know I wouldn't have been like Jay-Z or the rest of them. You know, I don't think I would have been that kind of creep. But you know, money creep, probably, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But you can get caught up in it. You know, it's like a whirlwind. I saw that in a movie somewhere. It's like a whirlwind. You just get caught up and you know, next thing you know, the twister's taking you. All of a sudden, it's like my buddy was describing when he did his paragliding. He says, you got to watch for this, go with this, because you hit this, and then all of a sudden you're at 15,000 feet. And I'm like, oh, you just get caught up in it, and it's out of your control. And then you're dead. For real up there. But, you know, in this world, you know, you're part of the, this, you're part of this, and everybody's looking at you. Like this girl, like her face is everywhere. There's nowhere she can go now. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's about it. Eh? And that's why I say, be true to your school. If you know it's wrong, you know it's wrong. If your brain is working, like if you're drunk, should I drive home? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I've been there. That's why I try. That's why I don't drink. You know, because I made all my decisions were poor when I drank. Every one of them. Should I have another? Sure. In the Two Devils, eh? Like in Animal House? Pussy. No, no. I like to listen to the good guy now. So, because I know the bad guy's there. And we say that in our 12-step program that I'm, one of these away from that insanity. So, just one, because that's the kind of person I am, right? So I have to watch that. I have to be very careful of the cheese on my cracker, have to not get caught up in the clickbait or the nonsense, or discard that and go, no, I have to not look at that because that's just too perfect, it's just too perfect. It's too. So anyway, but with that, we've been an hour. We have to keep our eye on the sandbox because it's absolutely crazy right now. When I say keep our eye on it, I mean like just these people are playing for keeps, and they are not playing for our best interests, and that's all I can say to that. Be true to your school. If you know it's wrong, you know it's wrong, and that's just what it boils down to. You don't kick a dog when it's in the down or whatever. Oh yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, she made some nice. And when the cookies are warm and they come out of the stove and they bend, and I'm gonna go have a couple right now before I have my eggs. So, but yeah. So we'll see you next Wednesday. I don't see there being anything gonna come up before next Wednesday. And like I said, be true to your school. You know what's right and wrong, and you know what's bullshit and what's not bullshit. If it just doesn't pass the smell test, I'm not gonna eat that. That's it. It's over. You're done, and you know that. I know you guys know that. Yeah. So yeah, yum. Yes, cookies, cookies. What is it? C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. The Cookie Monster. Okay. We'll see you guys next week. It's been a great show. Thanks a lot for coming out. I appreciate everything. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate everything. Because it gets me thinking, pump and dump, everything, Jake Paul, all of it, because sometimes I forget things, and I get caught up in it just like you guys do too. So this is where we have discourse. And unlike a lot of people, I like to answer and read your comments and actually, because a lot of people I've unsubscribed to right now, it's a give their shit. They don't look at anything else. They don't look at anything that's been written, and they just go. No, but I want this to have. It has to be an interaction. A lot of people do that. Like, I was watching CW again, and he does what I do, or I do what he does. I don't know who started it, but he reads and then he interacts and he goes back and forth. Okay, so anyway, peace to you and yours, and we'll hope to see you on the flip side next week. And as always, peace, love, and grooviness.